Well, Baltimore City, middle and high school public school students, they are the only students in the state who do not get yellow bus rides to and from school. Instead, they have to ride public buses or trains, and that can be dangerous. An investigation by our media partner, the Baltimore Banner, shows there were close to 300 reported incidents last year where students on public transportation were victims of violent crimes. So reporter Greg Morton joins us now, working as part of this report. Really interesting story, Greg. So you cite a couple of cases. One where a young woman was followed home from somebody that was on the bus. Another one where there are armed robberies. Young people sitting on the steps of schools in the morning and held up by gunpoint. So who is in charge of the safety of young people between when they leave their home and when they get to school?
So like with so many other aspects of kids getting to school in Baltimore, right, it's a collective responsibility. So you have MTA, who is responsible for physically transporting many Baltimore City students to school by virtue of running the bus system. And you have the schools that are in charge of children's immediate safety, around the school. And both have different initiatives that they're trying to get a handle on student safety. But it's one of those things where that makes it harder to quantify this problem because there's no one source, or the buck doesn't stop with any one agency or one organization.
Yeah, and clearly with these many violent incidents, these children are getting lost in that gap between the two. You cite some educators in your report who say that this problem of just how difficult it is for them to get to school, the danger of a lot of this public transportation is affecting their performance at school. It's affecting their attendance at school.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's another thing that highlights the fact that this is a situation that kids in Baltimore City have to go through, that maybe kids elsewhere in Maryland do not have to go through these situations. The length and complexity of these trips, compounded with the fact that some kids can feel uncomfortable, because of experiences with robbery or harassment or violence. You're walking into school carrying a lot, some of these kids, and that's bound to affect academic performance based on what we've heard from some of these educators working in the city.
Yeah, they may just be frightened and not want to face it and therefore stay home. Mm-hmm. And we know we have a problem with attendance in the city. Mm-hmm. The obvious question is, why? Why doesn't the city school system allocate money, make a priority to get a bus system where students only ride with students?
Well, it's a complicated question, right? So it's first and foremost pretty expensive, and there are a lot of different proposed solutions to this, right? One would be making our current public transit system more robust, right? So Baltimore isn't the only city in the country where students ride public transit, but we're in a precarious situation in that our public transit system does not have the level of investment as in cities like New York or Philly or Chicago, where students may take public transit to school and it's a little bit more efficient and perhaps even a little bit students feel a little bit more comfortable. Mm-hmm. Why don't we have yellow buses? I think the primary reason is cost, and the fact that it's kind of always been this way in Baltimore City. And we have a complicated school choice system that makes a yellow bus network. It requires some thinking and some creativity to make that kind of thing work.
All right, well, if you want to form your thoughts, read the article. Very interesting. If you'd like to read it and other independent reporting, go to thebaltimorebanner.com. It's a good story. Cutter. And